Hey there, this is Stephanie Treasure again, host of the Coach and Profit Giveaway, where 40 plus experts share visibility, marketing, and business strategies for making six figures and more in your coaching business so that you can grow, leverage, and scale. I've invited my colleagues to shine the spotlight on their high value business resources that they have provided for this special event. So I want to thank you for showing up here, showing up for the event, joining us, and prioritizing this, giving it your focus so that you can truly make your participation impactful for your business. So today I am excited to welcome my colleague and friend, one of the experts that have joined this panel to bring these high value resources to you. It's my good friend, Jane Garee. Hey there, Jane. Welcome to the broadcast.
Hi, Stephanie. I'm so excited to be here. Thank you for having me.
Awesome, awesome. It's always a pleasure. And I'm really happy that you bought into the vision, that you saw the value in being able to be a part of this panel, giving of your high value resource to support the coaches, many coaches and consultants that are going to be joining this giveaway. I want to thank you again for doing that. And so before we dive into what you have provided for us today, go ahead and tell us a little bit more about what you do and the kind of people that you're working with.
Sure. So I'm Jane Garee. I'm the founder of Show-Stopping Sales, and I work with committed, passionate business owners who are ready to stop the stress and get to yes in their one-on-one sales conversations. Imagine what it would be like to hear less, I'd like to work with you, but I'm going to have to think about it, or oh, I'd love to, but I don't have the money, and more, sounds great. When do we get started? So serve more people, make more money, and have more fun. That's the whole goal of Show-Stopping Sales and being able to master that one-on-one sales conversation.
Awesome, awesome. And yes, you know, the sales part, I find a lot of business owners, kind of get gun shy around that part, right? How do I ask for the sale? Should I ask for the sale? Do I need to just keep giving value? Everybody says give value, value, value. I'm doing that. So, maybe they'll just come to me. How do I, get more sales calls? When I'm on the phone, how do I actually switch from the value that I'm giving to, selling to the people? And, it can be a very stressful process for many. And I'm happy that you've devoted your expertise, your life to helping persons with this very sticky but very important piece, because as you say, that's how you make the money, right? Through the sales process.
Yeah, absolutely. It's everything. Nothing happens until something gets sold, and generating revenue in a company is really just a fancy way of saying things are getting sold. The sales is what brings in the revenue. And I got into this because, can I share my story a little bit?
Yes, I'd love to hear it.
Okay, great. So I got into this because I actually had the big fancy corporate sales manager, sales area manager, branch manager, full P&L responsibility. And I have always been a professional salesperson in a production role. And then when I was in corporate, I just kept getting promotions and climbing the corporate ladder and more responsibility. And I had all this abundant social proof for years that I was really good at selling, having sales conversations, and managing teams so that they could also have sales conversations, and everybody was winning and we were all excited. And my bosses used to call me the rainmaker and money in the bank. And, it was very exciting. So I had this kind of big corporate career that I loved, but I realized that I was never going to have the time and freedom in my schedule to really do what it is that I wanted to do, because corporate, and it was great. I loved my corporate jobs, and you have to be there at a certain time, and they don't really love it when you leave. And 2:00 on a Friday afternoon saying, I think I'll get a mani-pedi, doesn't go over real well in corporate. And the other thing that I really discovered, even though I enjoyed that career very much, is in addition to not having freedom of time, my salary and commissions, they were eventually capped. So it didn't matter how much revenue I was generating at some point, and this is what corporations do. They say, well, that's enough. And then there you go. So I knew that to really live the life and the lifestyle that I wanted, I was going to have to go on 100% commission and go out on my own. So I did that. And I was about a decade in the mortgage industry. And it was fantastic. I hit a six-figure salary by month 13, or I wasn't salary commission in month 13. I was having a blast. This was, kind of in the heyday down in South Florida. So it was just so much fun. And I was getting those mani-pedis at 2:00 in the afternoon. And I was going to the beach if I felt like it on a random Thursday. And life was good. And then there was this little thing called the crash of 2007 and 2008, right? We all remember that, unfortunately. And there went that career. And my colleagues were trying to figure out what it was they were going to do. And fortunately, I was able to say, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to stop doing this, and I'm going to go do what I've always really wanted to do, which was own my own company. And so I started Show Stopping Sales. Now, this was back in 2010, and off I went, right? Now, keep in mind, I just shared with you that I had all the social proof and the fancy corporate career. I knew that I knew what I was doing. I knew that the company has to generate revenue to actually be a company and not a hobby. So I figured I knew what I was in for, because I actually got into business to do the business of selling. So for me, it was number one, I'm going to go prospect and find clients. Number two, I'm going to have conversations. And number three, I'm going to close the deal. I'm going to get clients. And none of that happened. And I really struggled. And I could not figure out for the life of me, how did I make it through $2 billion companies, get recruited out of the last company I was in to start up the South Florida market, make it for a decade on 100% commission over in the mortgage industry. And I was really getting stressed out because I thought, I'm not going to make it. I'm going to have to go figure out what else I'm going to do. Commission, job, I don't know, but apparently I'm not cut out to be a business owner, because this is not working. I thought that was so weird, because what specifically wasn't working was I couldn't get anybody to say yes to me, as in, yes, I'd like to hire you. Yes, I'd like to make sure that you come in and do the thing that you do. And I thought, this is truly bizarre, because this is what I excel at doing. I don't understand what's happening. But here's what I learned. When you are out selling under the umbrella or kind of the protection of the name of a company, and you're representing X company and you're representing X division, and you've got this power and kind of this machine and this entity behind you, it's pretty easy to sell. But when you are the product and you are the service and that's it, it feels really weird to sell. So for example, it's one thing to say, hey, you should work with me because I'm with ABC Corporation and this is what the company does. It's almost like, no, I'm just the representative. So what I'm touting and what I'm talking about is the company that's so great. But when you're an entrepreneur and you're self-employed, guess what you're telling other people is so great? You,
exactly.
And that feels really weird and not fun at all. And that's what I was really experiencing. I was going out and to me, it kind of felt like, you got to work with me. I'm all that, you got to work with me. I'm amazing. And who wants to do that? That feels really, really unpleasant. So here's what I did. I thought, well, I really should hire somebody and have them explain to me how I'm going to be able to do this. And I thought, oh, what a novel concept. That's actually what I do. So I hired myself and I became my first client. And I truly put myself through the paces of what I now do with clients all over the world. I just did it with me. Here's what you need to do. Here's what this looks like. Let's map out a process and a system. Where are you in flow with your sales conversations? What exactly do you need to do to make sure that you're serving? Because I believe that's what selling really is. What are you doing to make sure that you're serving and you're generating revenue? Because without that, you're not going to have a company. And that's what happened. So there's a happy ending to this story, which is I very successfully hired myself. I did a great job. I was a good client. It's been 12 years now that I've been in this space, and I learned what it really takes and the transition and the shift that has to happen being an excellent salesperson over here with a company and being an excellent representative of you when you're the products and services. So I am on a actually afford to stay self-employed, and to be able to do that, you have to generate revenue, which again is just a fancy way of saying you have to know how to sell.
I love your story because, although you and I have been connected for quite some time, I didn't know the depth of your story. And I feel like I see myself in it but except where you would say the word marketing, I would say the word, where you would say the word sales, I would say the word marketing. Certainly not the same industry and the same career path. But my background, having been in marketing and having worked in high executive marketing positions in my career, when it came time to market my own business, to market myself, right, there was that stuck point as well. Like, if I was hired, to work for another company, I could jump in, say, okay, this is what needs to happen. This is a campaign. This is how we're going to, reach more people. This is how we're going to close more deals. This is how we're going to get more customers or sell more products, whatever the case might be. But in my own business, I couldn't quite make that shift. And I did hire some outside coaches to help me. But sometimes when I really am trying to figure things out, I try to step out as the marketing expert and look at my business as if I was looking at a client's business, or if I was being hired to figure out how to get this company back in the black, from the red to the black. And it somehow clicks differently when you put yourself in those shoes. So I love that you shared that.
It's the weirdest thing when you're getting up and going someplace where somebody is giving you a paycheck. I don't know about you, Stephanie, but for me, I'd bounce out of bed every day going, I'm on fire. I'm going to do this thing today. This is going to be awesome.
Yeah, absolutely.
For myself, it took me quite a while until I didn't say, I think I'll go back to bed. I think I'm going to take a nap. Maybe I need to clean my kitchen for a while first until I get started. And it's just such a mindset shift, because the skills, I had the skills, but I had to hire people for other skills. There's the skill is the one thing, but I can't tell you the amount of people that I've worked with who said, I was a rock star salesperson in my former life. What is going on? I go, okay, I gotcha. I know what's happening here. And I certainly work with people who say, I went into the business. I went into my own business because I just wanted to fix people's computers, or I just wanted to provide them with marketing strategies, or I just wanted to make the world's best cookies, or whatever it is that they're doing. That's their business. That's their passion. And I really believe that is the calling on their life. That's what people go into business to do, to serve the greater community with the gifts and talents that they have. Very few people start a business and say, I can't wait to get up and be a full-time salesperson every day. And I actually did. I knew that. I could not imagine the sheer terror and frustration other people must be feeling, because I was feeling it, and I walked right into it knowing I have to get up, or I get to get up and sell every day. So I completely understand, and I'm so grateful that I went through my own experience feeling like I am never going to make it, because I really understand how it feels on a very deep level.
Yeah, and I'm sure that makes you much more relatable to your clients. Great. So I want to hear about what you've presented, with all this background and expertise and your own very powerful and inspiring story. I know you've put together a resource that will help other business owners to conquer that sales demon and deal with the stress. Go ahead and tell us more about what that is and why persons definitely want to get a hold of it today.
Yes. So this is called 4 Tips to Stop the Stress and Get to Yes. Of course, meaning stopping the stress in your sales conversations and getting to the yes. And here's what this is kind of the hill that I stand on when it comes to selling and sales. I truly believe that selling is a noble profession. And the reason why I believe it's a noble profession is it actually changes people's lives, which changes the world. So you are changing people's lives one person at a time, because you're having one conversation at a time. And when you do the work that you're called to do, and you have one conversation that changes one life, and you do that over and over and over again, and then the people's lives that you're changing, otherwise known as your clients, they go out and now do the thing that they are called to do. That is how you change the world. We change the world one person at a time, one conversation at a time, at least in our domain, in the coaching and consulting industry. That is our contribution, and it is significant. And so I really want people to understand that you matter in a very significant way, in a very important way. So and need to embrace. You have got to get out there and have these conversations. Otherwise, you're not going to be impacting people. And the only way to have a conversation is you have to be able to say, okay, today's the day I'm having a consultation or a strategy session or whatever it is that you call it, but it is a sales conversation. So what happens for most people when they think about that, or when it's time to actually rubber meets the road, here it is on the calendar, 2 p.m., I got to talk to this person. All this stress and anxiety starts popping up. And I talk about this a lot in my mini workshop. I call it the 3 myths of selling that stops you from moving forward and really, frankly, living out your destiny, and is holding your potential clients hostages, or holding them hostage. So the stress that people feel around sales conversations, there's really no need to feel that. You have so much more power than you think that you do. And I'm going to give you bonus tip number 1 on one of the myths is, please stop trying to close. I know that's the verbiage that we use in sales is go close and coffee is for closers, but I really want everybody to release that, because I don't want you to close anymore. So we can't get into all of that today, but going back to the 4 tips that stop the stress and get to yes, I want you to grab this and I want you to go through this little mini course, because what you're going to discover is all of the things that make you stressed out and anxious about sales conversations, and all of the reasons why you feel inauthentic or slimy or salesy or whatever descriptor you want to use. There's really no need to. So when you understand what selling is and what it isn't, you're going to be able to start looking forward to conversations, and you're going to be getting excited about, look, I'm talking to Stephanie today at 2, and she is going to be inquiring about my programs or my services or what it would be like to work with me. And I can't wait to have that conversation. I don't know what's going to happen. She may decide to work with me. We may decide to work together or not, but I'm excited to have that conversation, because I'm going to have an opportunity to discover who she is, what's important to her, what matters to her, and if there's an opportunity for us to work together. So there's so much in there. And again, we can't unpack everything today, but in the 4 tips to stop the stress and get to yes, you're going to get 4 very specific thoughts of, I'm going to call it thoughts of around, this is what I do for a living, this is why it's important, and this is what happens for people as a result of working with me. And then you're also going to be able to understand, how do you frame up that conversation in your head so that you're not, I got to close the deal, I'm coming in there as a salesperson, I hope I get it, I really need the money, any of that stuff, which is what flies around in everybody's head. And you're going to be able to be fully present and have a conversation with somebody that moves them forward in their truth and brings them to clarity.
I love that. And folks, just really, really quickly, I know that it's 4 tips that you're sending, so you're getting into the intricacies of your resource. But just in case you happen upon in the giveaway up on the page, it actually is named Stop the Stress and Get to Yes, Sales Conversations with Less Stress, Increased Impact, More Money, and More Fun. But I want to come to what you were saying, years ago, in college, when I was going to buy my first computer, I did not know about computers. That was not my strength. I just know I needed something for home and for school, functional, that I can work with. And I did a lot of research, back then, not through Google, but looking in magazines and, looking up, this and that, and how much RAM I want to get and what kind of processor it needs to be, how much memory it needs to have for my needs, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And I went to the, one of those, big computer stores, appliance or electronic stores, and in dealing with the rep and coming with what I had, in my mind in terms of what I wanted and what they knew as being the experts, we met for like quite a bit at length in terms of this purchase. They were telling me, I was saying, I think I want this amount of RAM because I do a lot of work as relates to this, and I want to make sure I have this, whatever was the lingo that I was using at the time. And the person would say, oh, you know what, based on what you're saying, actually I think you should go for this instead. And even at some points I was being upsold, as we would say, upsold into something else. But it was more of an educational experience for me. I got the clarity, as you said, and I felt like I was being supported with what they know, married with what I know and what my needs are as to what is the best direction to go in. Yes, I'm sure that, at the back of the person's mind, they're looking for the sale as well, but I really felt like they were informing me and educating me that even if I walked away and did not buy the computer there or did not buy the model that they're trying to, the more expensive model, at least I would have been satisfied in my purchase. And I was supported to do that by the salesperson. And like you said, that's what the conversation really is about. And it can really be a very pleasurable experience for both parties, as I found it for me.
Yes, 100%. It can really be. That's why I have so much fun with what I do. I love looking at my calendar and seeing I have all these cool people to talk to, and I can discover who they are and what they really need. I put out something every week called the Midweek Sales Tweak. And as you were talking, Stephanie, it made me think of this one. What the Midweek Sales Tweak is, they're just little branded memes, and it's got one sentence in there. And so the sentence on that particular tweak said, if you're going to have any agenda, make it a one-way agenda, and that's theirs. And that's really what it's about. What do they want? What do they need? What are they running towards? What are they running away from? You may or may not be able to solve the problem that they have. You may or may not be the best person to solve the problem that they have. So when you let go of that expectation that you're going to close this deal and get the credit card, it just changes the game. The way that I kind of map it out for everybody in this sort of linear thought process is I say this: your job in a sales conversation, this is it, and this isn't stressful, is help that person get to their truth. And I'm talking the no holds barred, scary truth, stuff you don't even want to say out loud in the middle of the night when you're the only one that can hear it, because the truth is so powerful. And we as humans do a really good job of not even telling ourselves the truth a lot of times, let alone other people. So when you're in a sales conversation, that's what you want to do. You want to create a supportive environment and ask the right questions at the right time in the right way so that somebody can really get to their truth. And here's what happens. When you speak your truth, you hear it. When you hear it, you feel it. And when you feel your truth, you own it. And it is in the moment of ownership of the truth that any of us will actually decide to do something. Sometimes the decision is, I'm going to go forward and do this thing over here, or do something else, or solve the problem. And sometimes it's, I don't want to do anything. So when you're in that sales conversation as the business owner, which I use simultaneously with salesperson, that's what you're wanting to get them to. I absolutely do not want to do this thing with you, but thank you for explaining to me what that might look like on the other side. Or, you know what, I can't sit here in what I've been doing any longer. What's the next step? And it is just a beautiful thing. There's no stress in it. It's just like your experience that you shared. What do you want? What do you need? There's a skill to asking the right questions at the right time in the right way, only because without doing it, you won't get somebody to their truth. They're going to skirt around, and we all do it. I've done it. Sometimes the truth is, it's a really heavy thing, but it's always a very powerful thing. So absolutely, sales conversations can be the most fun you have ever had. And it is a noble profession because you're changing that person's life by virtue of having that conversation. And that's how we change the world.
I love that. And, really what came to me too, when you were talking about helping that person come to their truth, is the fact that sometimes that truth may be, let's just say you get the price objection, right? It could be that the person, having never worked with a coach or a consultant like you listening here, who, they don't know what's involved. They don't know that, this thing could be anywhere from 2,000 to 5,000 to 10,000, right? They don't know what it takes, what's involved, what does it look like, right? And it may just be that in your conversation after they say, yes, I definitely want to work with you. And then you come up, you share what the investment is. It may be that they say no, because they're not ready for that investment. But now they've come to the realization that this is what these kinds of transformation usually cost. And you could very well find that person go off and say, okay, so now I know what I'm up against. I know I need some help with this item. I'm going to save towards it, and I'm going to go back to the person. And I can say, as a consumer, I've done that, right? And I have had people who have come to me after it was a no the first time, and they said, I knew what, ballpark, what it was going to be, and I wasn't ready then. I feel like I'm ready now. And that could very well be what will happen for you, because remember, you're in this for the long haul, right? I'm sure you've told persons that as well, where even if you don't close the deal, you don't get the money right then and there, it doesn't mean that it's a no forever.
Right. And so there's all excellent points. And so there's a couple things in there. When you really, I'm going to go back to ask the right questions in the right way at the right time and release the expectation. And when you do both of those things, the money usually starts falling away because we've gotten to their truth. And the truth is, I can't afford to not invest in this right now. Not every time, but one of the things that people kind of latch on to is, okay, how am I going to close? How am I going to ask for the money? Don't worry about any of that, because when you're really getting somebody to the truth by nature of those questions, again, there very rarely are objections. It's actually quite interesting. That's my brand promise, is that you'll never have to close again, because people are going to start asking you for the business. So there's no, oh, there's this big shifted energy, and now I'm going to lay down the offer, and now I'm going to hit them with the investment, that's the energy that we're bringing in. But when you stop trying to close, you release expectations, and you go in asking the right questions in the right way at the right time, your clients will close themselves. You really will hear, how do we get started, instead of you saying, so would you like to get started? And that's the key difference. And then the other thing that I just want to mention is 100% we should always be in something for the long haul. It isn't a churn and burn. You want to build referrals. You want to build longevity in your business. You want to have people speak highly of you and give you referrals, and not have things like chargebacks and the worst, you talked me into it. Nobody should ever have to hear that. So when you really understand how to have this kind of conversation, the objections sort of fall away. People start closing themselves. You are building a long-term business, and specifically around the money piece. And this is true for any objection, which is just another way of saying, I don't feel like I have enough information to comfortably and confidently make a decision. So when anybody says, I don't have the time, I don't have the money, and again, this is really deep training, but I'm going to give you a little, you just mean to them. I can't tell you the amount of people who have said, oh, I don't have the money, only to find out 5 minutes later what that means is, I don't want to dip into my several $100,000 portfolio because I'm feeling a little shaky based on world conditions. Or they have access to 50 grand on credit cards, but they don't believe in debt. So there are so many educational conversations that can happen, and you have to keep going, because the truth of what is true for somebody else, it is what it is, and you have to honor that, and you have to just explore with them what that really means. And that's what I mean by the truth, because is it a true statement, I don't have any money, if you've got no debt, you own your house free and clear, and you've got $1 million sitting in the bank plus an IRA and plus a portfolio? That's not true. You don't have money. You have plenty of money. You have a lot of money. So what is going on in that person's head that's making them feel like they don't have any money? That's not a true statement. And so that's what needs to be explored. To the truth, make sure that you give them the opportunity to really explore that. And absolutely, when you honor where they are, that's how you create longevity, and that's how you create a business that gets a good reputation, not she's going to slam you into a program and out you go, because all she's trying to do is get your money. Not okay.
Right. I think you banked out just a little bit there. So you're saying once you get the objection about the money objection, you ask, how can I give you more information, you said?
Well, no, it's a little more in depth than that.
Okay.
But any objection that somebody says is, for the most part, they're not processing it like this consciously. But think about the last time that you were a client and a salesperson was trying to get you to finalize everything and say yes. And you probably said, I don't have the time. It's not a good time. I don't have the money. I'm not sure if this will work. There's really only about 5 or 6 objections, but I've done it. We all do it. And it's code for, I don't feel confident making this decision, but I also don't feel comfortable now having this discussion with this person. But here's the thing that's so fascinating. We don't really process that consciously. And we're really going now deep into some psychology, but all the things that we experience as a human, the shame and the embarrassment and the trepidation and all the feelings that we have as a human, you're talking to a stranger. I don't know about you, but I really don't it doesn't sound fun to stick up my hand and say, you know what? I got some serious personal stuff going down right now, and I am in no way capable to do this thing because emotionally I'm a mess. And I've been there. We've all been there, but that's not something I would actually say to a stranger. But a skilled person who could ask me the right questions in the right way at the right time would actually allow me to feel comfortable to have that conversation, because that is the conversation that really needs to be had.
Got you,
Yeah.
got you. Perfect. So really quickly, there is also a raffle item that you have here. So folks,
Yeah.
once you sign up for some of the resources here, which Jane's resource is one of them, just by signing up for that resource, that getting access to that resource, you'll also be entered into a raffle to win an item that would normally be offered only at a cost, at an investment. So your raffle item is a one-on-one 30-minute selling success strategy session, of which you're going to give it to one lucky winner. Tell us more about that session, and why persons
Yes.
want to
Yes.
chance to win it.
Yeah, I love doing this. This is truly, I'm going to take a look at your business we will look at kind of holistically, organically, but we'll do that. And then what I'm really going to do is look at the challenges that you're having when it specifically comes to your selling strategies and also your one-on-one conversations. And you will walk out of our session after 30 minutes with a really clear and simple plan about what you need to implement immediately to start getting things going in the right direction. So they're very powerful. We can cover a lot of territory in 30 minutes.
Wonderful, wonderful. So definitely download the gift. Be able, so you'll get the Stop the Stress and Get to Yes item. It has downloadable videos and worksheets, and then you'll be entered into a raffle to win the one-on-one 30-minute selling success strategy session. That will be announced about a week or so after the giveaway ends. So once you sign up with Jane, you'll be on her email list, and she'll let you know if you've won. As well as, I know once persons sign up, they're going to be hear from you on a regular basis as you communicate with the persons that are following you, and I'm sure they'll have access to your links in terms of where they can follow you online as well. Is that the case?
Yeah, absolutely. I have the best community. So if you're looking for a place where you can kind of call home with some amazingly cool, I always say the cool kids hang out together. If you want a place where you can just feel free to be who you are, have a lot of fun, get some very practical advice that you can implement right away. You can also go to showstoppingsales.com, and there's something right there that talks about the midweek tweak. It says, oh yeah, tweak me. All you have to do is throw your email address in there and you'll be in my email community. But we have so much fun, and I love my community. They are so responsive, and they are absolutely the reason I get up every day. They're amazing people.
Awesome, awesome. Well, thank you so much for sharing with us today. So much value that you shared. Again, guys, go ahead. I believe your resources under the marketing and sales tab or category. Go ahead, look for Jane's gift, download it, and not only download it, implement. All right?
Implement it. Listen to it, put it into practice. Yeah.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you again for being a part of this event, and I will see you in the next interview. Bye.
Thank you so much, Stephanie. Bye, everybody.
Bye.